Hey everybody, welcome to another recap of The Bachelorette. Ashley thinks everything's going real good. Wait until she sees this. Okay, so first date is Ben C. Love strikes in a flash. Alright, it's Flash Mob America, and the date begins at a dance studio where she tries to teach him a little routine that she doesn't even know that well. Okay, so it's like the blind leading the blind, basically. They go on a little picnic date, and she's all like, hey, why don't we stand up in the middle of this park and start doing that dance that I taught you before? Not too suspicious, huh? So, no one's watching. Awkward. He was all like, eh. It was like really weird, and it was to some drunken song that the band starts playing, and then he's like, where did all these hundreds of people come from? You mean the ones that were just like standing around and staring at you the whole time anyway? It was just really weird. If he didn't know what was coming, he's insane and stupid. Or maybe just drunk, I don't know. So then Far East Movement, the band that did the song, gives a little impromptu, or maybe not so impromptu, concert for everyone. And it looked like he was really into her, but she just wanted to see the band. Because like every time he tried to like nuzzle up to her and everything, she was just like, I just want to watch the band, leave me alone. Alright, so then they have a little bit of dinner, and he needed total freak out control because he starts yakking about how he literally wanted to live in a bubble with her. She is eating it up though. She really likes that. Any kind of attention she's just so happy to get. That's how bad her self-esteem is. And he was even more annoying than she was. Alright, so yeah, when she loves hard. In fact, she gave him the rose. She's just happy to get the attention, because I'm thinking that she probably doesn't get a whole lot of it. And by the way, when I mean when she loves hard, you can insert dumb in there. Alright, so Masky dude, it's time to take it off. Finally. He was thwarted last week because he was all ready to take it off and he got interrupted. Yeah, right. When he actually took it off, the show was very clever. They made a bird take a dump. And you know what? They were right to do that, because he shouldn't have been wearing a mask in the first place, because it was a total letdown when you finally took it off and everybody knew it. Alright, it's group date time. This is the group date from hell. It was called Make Me Laugh, and they went to a comedy club where none other than Jeffrey Ross was waiting, the king of the roasts. There is a fine line when you do a roast, especially with somebody that you're trying to date. I just don't think it's a good idea, period. Alright? And especially with somebody with no self-esteem, it's like putting gasoline on the fire to try and put it out. William is stupid, though. He doesn't understand about the fine line. All he sees is his comedy career in his future. Then Jeffrey Ross had a really off-color joke about cavities. I'm not even going to go there. Ryan went first. They gave him a few minutes to write some jokes, and Ryan went first. He wasn't funny in the least bit. It was total crickets out there. Then Masky was the first one to actually take a jab at her. He's like, oh, you got small boobs. I just picked them up off the floor. I guess he was trying to say that she stuffs. I don't know. Certainly not that she's floppy, because that would mean big boobs. So that was very confusing. Then everybody, it was fair game, went for the small boobs jokes and the whole Brad's leftovers thing. But then Bentley kind of got some points in there by saying that she had a great behind. But then William, oh Lord, it imploded when he was up there. I guess they saved the best for last, the worst for last. He totally said that he signed up for Emily or Chantal, and there was Ashley. Oh my. At the end of the show, she ran off crying and was sitting in the corner in the dark crying. And Bentley swooped in. This was his opportunity. Besides the fact he hates crying, it's very unattractive. Alright, so she opens up to him and is all like, oh, I've got low self-esteem and I was afraid that everybody would get a look at me and run away. while he is thinking the exact same thing that she's worried about, and he's all like, oh no, at least 24 of the guys are here for you, meaning that he was the one that was not, but she wasn't thinking that. He has got her eating out of his soft hands that haven't done a day's work in his life, because he's probably gotten by on his smooth talking and good looks the whole time. So she goes off, she has a little drink to feel better, she's okay with the boobs thing because she's always had small boobs, but the low self-esteem thing, it is just eating her up. So she has a little talk with William, and William basically says, he makes it worse. He's like, all I care about is making people laugh. That's not what you're here for, dude. You're not here for your career, you're here to date her. So he whips up some tears and he offers to leave, and he's like, oh, you should just go talk to the other guys. You know, it was cheap. Debbie Downer goes and talks to the other guys, and Ryan lies to her, and he's all like, oh, I wanted it to be you. Really, I did. So she likes that, and, you know, she starts feeling a little bit better. Then she pulls Bentley aside, and she tells him the whole thing about Michelle Money, about how she got texted and everything. Damn it, I was thinking it was Cozy, but it's Michelle Money, the crazy one. Alright, apparently she's friends with Bentley's ex-wife. Another piece of work, I'm sure. Alright, so the rose goes to Ryan because he was brave enough to lie about the whole thing. Ryan. Alright. Bentley is pissed because he's expecting to get like every single rose because he's really working hard here. He really is. I mean, he did say before that he would rather swim in pee than plan a wedding with her. So I'm sure that he's really putting himself out there. So Bentley is her guy. She's hooked. I mean, he's got her fish hooked. And Bentley is done though. That was insulting that he didn't get the rose. Besides, he can't take it anymore. He can only swim in the pee for so long. She's not Emily. That's the reason why he's going home. I'm sure he would have lasted so long with Emily too. Has anybody ever heard of playing hard to get? I mean, don't guys like the pursuit? Doesn't Ashley realize that? If she's just like, I'm here for you, the guy's gonna be like, check please, I'm done. She's got to keep him guessing a little bit. So I'm sure Bentley is turned off by that whole thing because every time she is doubting a little bit, he goes in a little bit further to bring her back, you know. That's the secret. I'm sure Emily is never like exposing her hand the whole time. She's smart. She knows how to work it. Alright, so he's saying to her that he's going home for his daughter, and he tells all the guys that too, and they're all like, oh yes, you're a good dad, blah, blah, blah. Of course they want him to leave. He's a front runner, and they're only more than happy to be like, oh yeah, you're a good guy. Alright, so I gotta give him some credit though. He was the first guy on the show that I've ever seen that could keep his mouth shut, at least to the other guys. Okay, in his aside interviews, he spilled the beans. But to the guys in the house, nobody was the wiser. It was genius. I mean, if that's what he wanted to accomplish, obviously he wanted to be the greatest villain ever on The Bachelorette or any other show like this. So he goes to Ashley's house, and it's like a scene out of a movie. It's raining, and it's got the beautiful windows in the house, and he's all like, hey, are you having a good day? Well, you won't be now. And he totally toys with her for hours. He is the cat and she is the mouse. He lets her go a little bit. He reels her back in. He lets her go. He reels her back in. It was genius. He worked her incredibly. He said he wanted to be there at home for his daughter. He didn't want his daughter saying all, you know, where's my daddy? And then she was like, well, what if I could bring your daughter here? Oh, no. My whole heart belongs to my daughter, and she doesn't even know you, and how could I share it with you? And he was coming up with some good stuff. But the coup d'etat was when he said he tried to get her to leave the show and end the show. That would have been the biggest move ever. And she was almost there, but he couldn't close the deal. That would have been amazing. But then he had to put up with her straddling him, which he kind of liked, but then got sick at the thought of. So he ran off. Finally, he endured enough, and she went and had a crying jag in bed. All right, so that still leaves one date, which took about 5 minutes because they had wasted so much time on Bentley's game. So it was for JP, and it was a home date. I'm sure they planned this ahead of time because they knew that they're going to have to devote a lot of time to Bentley. All right, so he shows up with some flowers. She's a wreck. It's a total rebound date. He picks up the pieces. He knows enough to back off a little bit, and he's going to have her right there too. All right, so she's like, can I just get comfortable? And when she comes out, boy, that was pretty scary. She had the hair up in the bun and the glasses on. It looked like a young grandma. All right, so he got the rose, of course. She did some rebound making out with him, and she went as far as saying, oh, it was better than Bentley. That's not what she was feeling here. She thinks her radar is so right on that Bentley was just like so sincere and everything. It was just a hoot and a holler to watch. All right, so she wastes so much time crying and drinking probably. She probably tied one on that night. Showed up late for the rose ceremony, so there was no time for a cocktail party. She's like, I'm too tired. All right, because she was probably up all night crying. She probably couldn't get her contacts in either. Chris Harrison creeps in and is like, hello, what, I can't help but notice that you're staring at Bentley's picture there. Then she explains to him about how he had said ... and he's like, oh my God, that's such a guy's thing to say. He knows exactly what's going on. You know, the show on other seasons, when guys had girlfriends or whatever, or they knew they were there for the wrong reasons, they'd stepped in. Why did they allow this to go on? Because it's good TV. And it was. All right, so he gives her a little pep talk. No cocktail party. We go straight to the rose ceremony. The first 3 roses go to the guys who didn't have dates that week, and that was Constantine, West, and Mickey. And the last rose is always the second chance rose, and that goes to William. So he feels better now. All right, so leaving this week was Masi, aka Jeff. It was too little too late, Masi, and you know what? I was very disappointed when you threw that mask in the fire because I'm sure it was made of toxic materials and the fumes were probably bothering everyone. And Chris is also leaving. Did you happen to notice how excited he was when Jeffrey Ross was introduced at the comedy club? Yeah, gay crush. All right, so then again, the Masi dude sitting on the toilet, this time with Bentley there. That would never happen. I'm sorry. That would never happen. I guess that's all I got to say. Till next week, much love.